Right now, while I'm recording this, parts of southern England are under an active hosepipe ban, and most allotment holders I've spoken to are doing exactly the wrong thing. They're reaching for the watering can 3 times a day, pouring liters of stored rainwater straight onto the surface, and watching it evaporate before it ever reaches the roots. I used to do the same thing. It was an expensive mistake, and this summer, it nearly cost me the entire harvest. But here's what I discovered, and I spent less than £4 to fix it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why surface watering is failing your plot in this heat, and you'll have a single, ancient, physics-backed solution that bypasses evaporation entirely, delivering water directly to the root zone, even when the mains tap is off limits. And the number one thing I'm about to show you isn't what most people expect. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about what's actually happening to your soil right now, because I think most growers genuinely underestimate how severe this problem becomes once temperatures stay elevated for several days in a row. When the mercury climbs above 28 degrees Celsius for more than 5 consecutive days, which the Met Office confirms this June has done across the Midlands and the Southeast, the top layer of your soil doesn't just dry out, it becomes hydrophobic. I know that sounds like something from a science lecture, but here's a simple test you can do right now, before you even finish this video. Take your watering can out to your beds. Pour a small amount of water directly onto the surface of your dry soil. Watch carefully. Does it soak in, or does it bead up and run off the top? If you're seeing it roll sideways, pooling where the ground is slightly lower, and then simply sitting there, that is hydrophobic soil, and it's the reason your watering efforts this summer have been so frustrating. The dry organic matter in your topsoil actually repels water at that point. The particles physically can't absorb it the way they would in cooler, moister conditions. Every liter you pour on top evaporates within minutes, sometimes within seconds on the hottest afternoons. The RHS estimates that in peak summer conditions, surface evaporation rates can exceed 70% of water applied. 70%. That means for every 10 liters you're hauling from your water butt, only roughly 3 liters are reaching the root zone where your crops actually need it. The rest is gone into the air before your plants can use a drop of it. You might as well be watering the sky. And the tragedy of it is that the more conscientious you are, the more trips you make with that watering can, the faster you deplete the one resource you actually have left, which is your stored rainwater. It's a loop that punishes effort, and understanding why it happens is the first step to breaking it. Now, add to that the current legal reality. A hosepipe ban, formerly a temporary use ban, is now in effect for over 1 million customers with Southern Water, and Southeast Water announced its ban for Kent on the 25th of June, 2026. Yorkshire Water is projected to follow by late August. Under these restrictions, mains-fed hosepipes, sprinklers, and automatic irrigation systems connected to the mains are all banned. The fine is up to £1,000. But here's the critical detail that most people miss, and it genuinely changes the picture if you've been assuming you're out of options. Watering with stored rainwater from a water butt is fully legal under every TUB issued since 2022. You can even run a hose from your butt, provided it is not connected to the mains at any point. So stored rainwater is your only real weapon right now, and the law is clearly on your side when you use it. The problem is that most growers are still wasting that stored rainwater on a soil surface that simply cannot absorb it. They're burning through their water butts in a matter of days, and then they have nothing left. That's the gap this video is designed to close. That's where the £4 hack comes in. I want to tell you about something that's been used for over 4,000 years, in North Africa, in South America, across the Middle East, in every climate on Earth where rainfall is scarce and heat is intense, and that most UK allotment holders have never encountered. It's called an Olla, O-L-L-A, pronounced Oya. It's a porous, unglazed terracotta vessel, the kind you can find for between £2 and £5 at any garden center, charity shop, or even a large supermarket in the houseplant section. Completely ordinary. You've probably walked past dozens of them without giving them a second thought. You bury it in the soil up to its neck, fill it with water through the opening at the top, and seal it with a flat stone or a lid. That's it. And then the physics does something genuinely remarkable. The dry soil surrounding the buried pot creates a pressure differential, a very gentle suction that draws water outward through the porous clay walls of the vessel, and only at the rate the surrounding soil actually needs it. It's not dripping, it's not leaking, it's not running on a timer or connected to any power source. It is responding to the moisture tension in the soil, releasing water at exactly the rate the root zone is demanding it. When the soil is sufficiently moist, the flow effectively stops. When it dries below the threshold your plant finds stressful, the flow resumes. It is a closed-loop, self-regulating irrigation system that costs £4, requires no electricity, and has no moving parts. The soil itself is the sensor. The physics of capillary action is the pump, and the roots of your plants are the beneficiary, receiving water exactly where and when they need it, without any further input from you. Now let me walk you through the practical setup, because there are a few variables that determine whether this system performs well or merely adequately, and I want you to get it right the first time. Depth is the first and most important one. Your Olla needs to sit so that its shoulder, the widest point of the vessel, is roughly 5 to 8 centimeters below the surface of your soil. This is not a guideline to interpret loosely. Too shallow, and the clay walls near the top are partially in the zone where rapid surface evaporation is still occurring, which defeats a significant portion of the benefit. Too deep, and you're delivering water below the active root zone for most annual vegetables, which means the plant can't reach it efficiently. For courgettes, runner beans, and tomatoes, the crops most likely to be suffering on your plot right now, I've settled on 6 centimeters below the shoulder as the practical sweet spot that works across different soil types and plant varieties. Spacing is the second variable. Each Olla with a capacity of around half a liter covers an effective moisture radius of approximately 20 to 30 centimeters in typical allotment loam. That means for a standard 1.2 meter bed width, you'd want 3 Ollas spaced roughly 40 centimeters apart along the length of the bed. If your soil is sandier and drains faster, reduce that spacing slightly. If it's a heavier clay that holds moisture longer, you might get away with a little more distance between them. The third thing, and this is the one that most people skip on their first attempt, and then can't understand why the system seems slow to activate, is priming. If your soil has already gone hydrophobic, the clay pot alone will not immediately initiate proper capillary action. The outermost layer of soil around the buried vessel is so dry that it initially resists even the gentle pull of osmotic pressure through the clay walls. You need to break that resistance first. Pour approximately 1 liter of water in a slow, steady ring around the outside of the buried pot. Not into it, around it, and let that zone rehydrate before you fill the Olla itself. Think of it as waking the soil up. Reintroducing moisture to that immediate zone restores the capillary conductivity of the soil particles, and from that point on, the system runs exactly as it should. Once it is running, you will genuinely be surprised by how little intervention it requires. Now here's where the water butt becomes the perfect partner to this system, and where the two pieces really come together into something that changes how you think about watering for the rest of the season. During a hosepipe ban, your harvested rainwater is both legal and free, and a 200-liter water butt, which typically fills from just 12 millimeters of rain falling on a 2 meter by 4 meter shed roof, represents your entire irrigation bank for the week. Instead of making multiple trips a day with a watering can and watching the water evaporate off a surface that cannot receive it, you fill your Ollas once, every 3 to 5 days, depending on the intensity of the heat and the specific water-holding characteristics of your soil type. I've been running 9 Ollas across my main vegetable beds this July, filling all of them from my water butt in a single visit every 4 days. My stored rainwater use has dropped by roughly 60% compared to the equivalent period last summer. 60%. That is a significant bank of stored capacity now freed up for seedlings, pots, and newly planted crops that genuinely do need surface watering because their root systems aren't yet established deeply enough to benefit from a buried Olla. The comparison becomes very clear when you lay the numbers side by side. A standard watering can holds 9 liters. If you're watering a single square meter of bed surface twice a day, which many growers feel they need to do in this heat, you're applying roughly 18 liters of water to that square meter per day. Of that 18 liters, Perhaps 5 or 6 are actually reaching the root zone. The rest is gone. A single half-liter Olla, refilled every 4 days, delivers its 2 liters per week directly to the root zone with near-zero surface evaporation loss. 2 liters that count versus 18 that largely don't. The arithmetic is stark. And once you see it laid out like that, you realize that the watering can, in a heat wave like this one, is almost working against you. It's creating the impression of effort while delivering diminishing returns. The Olla removes the impression and gives you the returns. If you're finding this useful, and your plots are struggling in this heat the way mine was before I made this change, subscribe and hit the bell. I'm putting out practical, cost-focused videos like this every single week through the growing season. Right, back to the numbers. Let me give you the full financial picture, because I want to be honest with you about what this actually costs and what it realistically saves. A standard unglazed terracotta Olla, found at a charity shop or garden center, costs between 2 and 5 pounds. For the purposes of this calculation, let's call it 4 pounds, which is where the title comes from. For a 30 square meter allotment bed, a size that's fairly representative of a typical UK plot, you'd need between 10 and 15 Ollas, depending on your layout and soil type. That's a one-time capital investment of roughly 40 to 60 pounds. Set that against what your crops are worth if they survive a 6-week drought. Courgettes, runner beans, French beans, beetroot, all of them are in peak growing season right now, and all of them are under significant heat stress on plots that are being surface watered. At typical UK supermarket prices for organic equivalents, a productive 30 square meter bed through July and August represents somewhere in the region of 80 to 120 pounds worth of fresh produce. That is a rough estimate. It varies considerably by what you grow, how densely, and how close your local market prices are to the national average. So please treat it as directional rather than exact. But the relationship between the investment and the potential return is straightforward. The Olla system, once installed, pays for itself in a single season if it prevents even a partial crop failure. And it doesn't stop there. Terracotta doesn't rot. It doesn't need power. It doesn't have O-rings that perish or push-fit connectors that split. It doesn't require a smartphone app or a subscription service or an annual calibration. It's been outlasting gardeners for 4,000 years, and there is no meaningful reason it won't outlast several more growing seasons of yours too. I want to show you the plant health evidence, because this comparison is what convinced me to scale up from 2 Ollas to 9 across my main beds, and I think it will be persuasive for you too. At the start of June, before the first heat wave arrived, I buried Ollas along the left half of my main vegetable bed. The right half I continued to manage with my regular can watering approach. Same planting, same variety, same depth, same initial soil conditions. I wanted a genuine side-by-side comparison rather than relying on what others had reported. After 3 weeks of the June heat, the difference was visible and unambiguous. The Olla-fed side had plants with deeper, more laterally extensive root systems. I know this because when I lifted a couple of the less successful surface-watered plants to inspect them, the root architecture was noticeably shallower and more clustered near the surface. The roots had stayed high in the soil profile, chasing the intermittent surface moisture from can watering, rather than developing the downward growth habit that makes a plant resilient to heat stress. The Olla-fed plants had been drawn downward by the consistent subsurface moisture source. Their roots had followed the water. And when the afternoon temperatures hit the high 20s for several days in a row, the Olla-fed side held up. The right side, the can-watered side, which had in fact received more total water by volume over those 3 weeks, showed clear wilting during peak afternoon heat. By evening it recovered, but the cumulative stress of daily wilting events takes a toll on yield. This is not a controversial finding. It is straightforward plant physiology. Roots grow toward moisture. If the moisture is consistently deep, the roots go deep. Deep roots mean access to a larger volume of soil, better nutrient uptake, and significantly greater tolerance of the kind of short, intense heat events that are becoming more frequent in UK summers. The surface-watered plant is structurally weaker because its environment has trained it to be. The Olla gives it the conditions to be stronger, and the plant takes the opportunity. There's one final thing I want to address before we close, and it matters a great deal for anyone watching this in an area where a hosepipe ban is already in effect, or where one is likely within the next few weeks. The Olla system carries a legal advantage that I haven't seen discussed anywhere else, and I think it's genuinely significant. Because water delivery through an Olla is entirely subsurface, passing through the porous clay walls of a buried vessel and entering the soil without any surface application, it does not fall under the definition of surface irrigation as written in any temporary use ban restriction I've been able to locate. It is not a hosepipe. It is not a sprinkler. It is not a drip irrigation system connected to the mains. It is a terracotta pot buried in the ground, filled by hand using a watering can filled from a water butt. Under the terms of every TUB I've reviewed, stored rainwater applied by watering can is explicitly permitted. The Olla is simply a more efficient vessel for that permitted application. I believe this system is fully compliant with every hosepipe ban currently in effect in the UK. I would always encourage you to verify that with your own water provider, because restrictions can vary in their precise wording. But I have not found a single clause that would catch this method. In a summer where a £1,000 fine is a genuine and increasingly enforced reality, that legal clarity alone makes the £4 investment worthwhile. Stack on top of that the crop protection, the 60% reduction in water butt use, the improvement in root architecture that carries forward into next season, and the complete absence of maintenance, and the case becomes, I think, essentially unanswerable. So here is where we land. Your soil is almost certainly hydrophobic right now. Surface watering is losing up to 70% of your applied water to evaporation before it reaches the root zone. Hosepipe bans are active or incoming across the South and Midlands, and your water butt is being depleted far faster than it needs to be. For £4 per Olla, a single, one-time investment, you can move your irrigation underground, cut your water butt consumption by roughly half, and build the kind of root architecture in your crops that will see them through whatever the rest of this summer delivers. That is the hack. Ancient technology, £4. A physics principle that has been quietly irrigating crops in every hot and dry climate on Earth for 4,000 years, and that requires nothing from you beyond a trip to your local garden center and 20 minutes of installation time. I'll leave a complete setup checklist in the description below, exactly how to choose your Ollas, how to prime hydrophobic soil before installation, the correct depth and spacing for the most common allotment crops, and how to maintain the system through the end of the summer growing season. Until next time, keep growing your capital.
Welcome to the Capital Plot.